Hey there, I'm Veronica, and we're sitting here at the Upper Space, located in Niagara Falls, Montrose in the 420, brand new recording and broadcast venue, online, designated specifically, we've rolled with the punches, for COVID. I'm sitting here with
The House of Haunt.
the House of Haunt. Okay, introduce yourself, guys, and you have to speak clearly through your wonderful masks.
Yep.
I'm Ratcliffe Turpin.
I'm Fang by night. I sing and play guitar.
I'm Spectra, the elusive thereminist.
And I'm Skull, the bass player.
Ratcliffe, our RT over here plays drums. Okay, and okay, so I have a series of questions.
Sure.
Not necessarily designated for any one person to answer. And if you want to answer a question that Skull's answering,
Yeah.
We
No
know.
problem. We do pretty well.
all right? Okay, so who's going to go first? Because we're going to go with first.
First, okay. Well, it's going to either be him or me because we're
You
the
are
originals. We are the
Yeah,
first.
it's the original.
Okay, so we'll talk about genealogy first. Who were you? Say you two were the original, and
Yeah, we had. So we answered an ad. I answered an ad online for our old bassist. Her name was Lauren. She played character Spike, and we met it was in the Junction area of Toronto, right? It just hit it off right at the start, and then we got he started on an iPad.
Yeah.
But very quickly switched to keyboard player. Our keyboard player's not here today. He had another event to go to. His name is the Red Duke. And he's like the other original member. But we don't always need him to play. We got a lot of sound with just who we've got.
He's beating people with axes right now.
Yeah, he's actually at a Viking warrior tournament thing, kicking ass.
involving axes.
Like,
Yeah.
Literally, they're beating each other with swords and axes. It's kind of, savage.
See, and the estrogen level in the room, we just kind of looked at one another and just rolled.
His girl, he got his girlfriend into it. She's competing too now.
Yeah.
I don't mind as long as he saves some blood.
Spectra, how long have you been with these Motley Crue?
Only since the beginning of 2020. I brought all the good luck, I think.
Before I get into the heart of my questions, because they're a lot of fun, explain to anyone who is tapping online right now what a theremin is. We're going to be seeing the concert later on, your show, and we'll be hearing it, but if you can describe what the instrument is for people who don't know.
Okay, the theremin is an electronic instrument that you play with your body, but you don't necessarily touch it. It's radio frequencies, so you play the air and you play the frequencies around you. So usually works, and sometimes the room can be very haunted and it doesn't work.
So are you insinuating that energies do influence your movement as well, like as far as they can contribute to the sound?
Oh, definitely. I think any energy in the air, atmosphere can affect the sound of the instrument, so you never know what you'll get. That's my excuse.
That's your excuse? Oh my goodness, and of course, I'm missing page 1. No, I'm not. Yes, I am.
Yeah, that's right there.
It's right where?
Oh, no, that wasn't it, sorry.
That's okay.
Me.
Skull,
Yes.
what was your first horror movie that you fell in love with?
Oh, the first horror movie I fell in love with. I would actually probably say the first Aliens. I always remember when that came out. And
The first Alien or the first Aliens?
Alien.
The first Alien.
The Alien series, but
Okay.
Alien, the first movie.
So the one that wasn't Sigourney Weaver, the one.
No.
Oh, sorry, the one that.
Was.
The
She's
the
one that
original.
kicks ass in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I always remember at the time, mostly when you saw movies, you go through and it's a space movie, and the captain of the ship is usually the hero, but in Alien, oh no, he's like number 2.
Yeah.
And then I remember being like, oh shoot, who's going to make it out of this one? And anyways, I thought it was a great movie.
With you.
And so different really for the time. Usually when you saw space movies, they had like cheesy rubber giant ants or something. This was a seriously scary underrated monster, you know. And again, sort of going to the classic monster movie too. So I would say definitely Alien was the big hit for me.
What was your favorite horror movie that turned you onto the genre?
I'm kind of a little bit lamer. I'm gonna have to say for me, I'm a Friday the 13th guy.
Oh man, yeah,
Right,
way
I
to go.
started back at Friday the
Nothing
13th,
wrong with that.
and then right after that I was Freddy, and so Nightmare on Elm Street. They started it for me, and I ended up, getting into a couple of masks and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm Friday, yeah, Freddy or Jason for sure. Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
I figure I need to ask this question of all of you because you all come from, I'm sure, different areas of the genre. What is
I think I have to say the same. Like I remember being like 11 years old, biking to the Jumbo Videos was, and renting Friday the 13th. Like I probably started with like
2 or 3.
yeah, 4 or something, right? One of the odd ones, but I remember going through all of them. So yeah, I was pretty much the same with you. Did Friday, did Nightmare on Elm Street. I remember seeing Alien though. First time I saw Alien, I was like 6, okay? Staying at my aunt's house. And I couldn't sleep, so I got up and I went to the family room. And my parents and my aunt and uncle are watching Alien, and it's the fucking chest bursting scene. I lost it, man. That was crazy.
and what about you, Spectra? What's your go-to horror flick?
The first one that really influenced me was, I like the classics. So it was like Night of the Living Dead. I think I was like 7 and it came on TV really late at night. And I was like,
Channel
what
57.
is this? It was just, I think it blew me away. And from there, I was like, that's horror.
My first horror movie, just to throw into the conversation, was The Shining. I walk into
Oh.
my mother's bedroom, my parents' bedroom, and my mom didn't see me. Okay, so I'm standing there watching about 10 minutes of The Shining with her.
Wow.
And when the blood came rushing out of the
Whoa.
elevators, that's when I lost it. And I scared the heck out of my mom. She turned around and didn't realize I was standing there watching the movie with her. Okay, how old, this is kind of, I'll throw this out to the entire group as well. About how old were you when you first figured out that you weren't mainstream?
I was in grade 11, so that would have put me at 14 or 15, something like that. Yeah,
In grade 11, you add on 5 years, so you would have been 16.
sure.
Unless,
Let's
you
say
know, of
16.
course, you jumped
No,
ahead.
It was definitely. I remember it was grade 11 because my friend showed me the Casualties, or the Addicts too, and the Misfits, and then I went from being a goofy, classic rock loving guy to I was straight to the punk, hard. Yeah.
I started out myself like with Motley Crue. That Motley Crue, I stole my first album at I think I was 12 from Radio Shack.
From Radio Shack. Oh,
Fuck you, Motley Crue, I stole from you. So
I think they're all good. Doing
yeah, they're over it now. I'm pretty sure. Sorry, Radio Shack.
Are they even around?
Yeah, no,
it's
You put them out of business. That was the last.
If it wasn't for that tape, they could have made that payment. That's it.
They would have been bigger than Zeppelin, bud. But no, yeah, they wouldn't call it the Dirt anyway. They'd call it something else. Anyway, yeah. So and then I went into heavy metal. I had a guy in a foster home across the road from me, and he's like, "Here's Metallica," and I'm like, "Oh, Motley Crue, Metallica. All right." So I saw the Hammer, I'll Kill 'Em All, the fucking blood. I'm like, "That's cool."
And then it just kind of went from there.
Yeah.
What about you? How old were you when you figured out?
I was always a strange kid. I just have to say I was an only child. And I only noticed I was strange later in life. I spent months making elaborate Halloween costumes. And we're talking Halloween storybook. I would dress myself up as a book and actually create the pages of the story inside of it. And that sort of thing. When I was 7 or 8. And I think, and then when I was about 13 or 14, I met a my calling. I found my place. And
I have a feeling that if I knew you when we were in our teenage years, we definitely would have been friends.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
Well, for me, I was kind of like Spectra. I was always an oddball kid, even when I was a little kid. Used to always carry around Doctor Who books and stuff like that. But I would say music-wise, the big influence for me, I remember at the Silver Dollar seeing SNFU play. And the first time before that, the only concert I'd seen Triumph at Maple Leaf Gardens, and I saw Iron Maiden, and I always saw concerts where the people were this big, this far away, right? And I remember seeing SNFU, and Chai Pig was like hanging from the sprinkler system and screaming and yelling and jumping up and down, and then after he gets down and just walks through the crowd, you're just like, oh, he's like right here.
he's just like one of us.
Yeah, and then from there it was like, I don't think I saw a show at a concert venue for, I don't know, 20 years. Because it was, I just found that going to, because they used to have all ages shows. They don't have a lot of all ages shows anymore. But the Silver Dollar, like every Sunday and early Saturdays, they would have all ages shows. The Elma Combo, that's been restored, but back then it was kind of really divey and kind of cool. So yeah, I've always had an interest in punk. I also really like metal. Sort of like Derek's story, I had a friend one time comes up, he says, oh, there's this Toronto band called Sacrifice. And it gives me a Sacrifice CD. And I was like, whoa, what is this? This is so different than everything that, most metalheads that I knew at the time. Again, they were into Motley Crue, AC/DC and stuff like that. So when I started getting, and it was great. It's like, these are Canadians, and these are like Toronto people. And then, I forget the name of the record store on Yonge Street. I remember going in there.
Sam Darkman?
No, it's a more independent one, but the names elude me right now. And I go in there, and they're in there, and they're just buying records too. And I'm like, wow, cool, can you sign this? So yeah, I've always sort of had a...
Do you have that signed copy?
Unfortunately, no, because I had a box of records, somewhere in a move, someone swiped the box of records, and it actually had some amazing stuff in it. I have that record again, but not signed. I got to bug them to sign it. But I had some original Misfits pressings and stuff that I'm just like, man, if I could only have that. But yeah, someone stole one. It was like, I had 3 crates and someone stole 1 crate, and I had like, unfortunately, all the really good stuff in it. I actually had Black Sabbath Volume 4, signed by Ozzy. Oh man, it was an Ozzy with a Y. It was when you used to sign it with the IE.
Okay.
Wow.
So that was a big loss. So watch your records.
Yes.
And anyone touches them, just cut their fucking hands off.
On a side note, I've got a box of
Yeah, he's got it on
records for
eBay.
sale.
Okay, so we're going to shift here a little bit to a broader subjects. Okay, so we're either going to talk about it or we're not going to talk about it. Your choice.
We're going to talk about
Okay.
Okay. Well, no, because these are the 4 items.
Okay,
Yeah,
go for
Because
it.
these are the things that we don't talk about in social circles, but we should, or maybe we shouldn't.
Okay,
Religion,
sure,
sex,
sure.
politics,
Oh, no.
or COVID.
Yeah, you know what? I
No.
think we'll skip on the politics.
Thank you.
Oh,
Right
really?
now? No, I don't want to talk politics.
No, we'll skip that one.
Our political theory is that all politicians should just be, no.
Start over.
Start over.
There you go. Politicians, all of you.
A big meteorite, right into Ottawa.
Anyways, so no, let's not talk politics.
Okay, so we're not talking politics. What about COVID?
Sure, I'll talk COVID.
How have you adjusted your lives during these strange COVID times?
Holy shit, I didn't leave my house. I live in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't leave my house for 3 months. I didn't see anybody for 3 months. I didn't get to practice with these guys physically for 3 months. It drove me crazy. It was longer than 3 months, actually.
I know.
But it was crazy. It has affected me mentally. I'm looking forward to retirement. It's going to be awesome. I get to do a lot of stuff around the house. I get to practice music. And now that we can get together in smaller groups, I'd like to practice.
Yeah. I mean, it impacted my social life. It impacted my job life. I was doing show posters for a lot of bars. I was doing pins for a lot of bands, stuff like that. That work all dried up. It's not really coming back. I mean, it might a little bit. So, and then like I work for a school board. You can just imagine how like absolutely awful that actually is, because it's changing every day and it's dangerous and feels dangerous.
Yes.
So.
And well, especially are you exposed to, okay, so do you have a bunch of kids coming to school and this sort of thing?
And I work with the spec ed kids, so like I love them, but they're even more dangerous now than they were before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's tough. It's tough, Some days, what was it somebody said to me? We're not really living. We're trying to live. Those days of living are kind of forgotten.
Of the 4 topics, religion, sex, politics, COVID, is there anything you want to say yay or nay against it, or can I just move on to the next question? I could totally read her vibe and her energy. I totally do not want to answer any of those questions. And you know what? I can respect that. So we're going to keep going. Okay, tell me, have all 4 of you seen the movie Fight Club?
Oh,
yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we all know the first rule about it.
Yeah. Why are we?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Well, and the second rule applies as well.
Yeah.
If you had to fight anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
If I had to fight anyone dead or alive, who would it be?
What?
Okay. I would want to fight somebody dead.
Or fictitious.
Huh?
Dead or alive or fictitious.
Or fictitious. Oh, fuck. That's easy. I want to fight Freddy, because Freddy's, he's playing with you up here. I want to play that game with him.
You wouldn't survive.
Huh?
You'd
I
lose.
would try to. I would want to try.
It's always a woman that lives. No, I guess in the second one, the boy. But he's because he was just they did a
Doesn't
documentary
matter. I
on.
still want to fight Freddy. That's my.
Okay, fine, whatever. I don't know. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
I can respect that.
Oh.
You would not be part of Fight Club.
No.
Would you fight anyone?
I'd fight Katie Herman just because it would be more fun.
I think, you know what's funny? That was an answer that came up last week.
Oh,
Psychic.
Totally tapping into the psychic vibes. And what about you, Skull? Who would you fight?
I never really thought of that. Pee-wee Herman is a good pick, though, but I kind of like him. I don't know, maybe me from Austin Powers? I figured,
He actually did pass away. Right?
Yeah.
Well, he's not living
but
in
I'm
it.
in the character, too.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
He would
But,
bite
I
your
was a little
wiener,
low.
man.
I got a pretty good kick. I used to play football, so.
I got a pretty good kick.
Okay.
Sorry, Vernon.
I have 3 questions here, one of which I'm going to ask Spectra.
Okay.
Okay. But the other 2 questions are kind of, you can pick and choose
Okay.
which one. And if you decide that you don't want to answer the question I answer, you can answer, okay? Okay.
Anticipation.
And anticipation's like, oh my gosh, what's she going to ask me? Okay. So of all the mythical creatures that could possibly exist, which seems the most likely to exist?
Well, a unicorn.
I was gonna say unicorn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I can see a unicorn.
Just on the evolutionary
You
scale,
want to know
they lost the
something?
horn?
Honestly, I believe a dragon. For real, there has to be something, because everywhere in the world has some type of dragon. It doesn't necessarily have to be like some fire-breathing dragon, but something big that looks like a dragon.
The big giant lizard?
Something, yeah.
Okay. You're going on a first date.
And it's
Okay.
by people.
Okay, you're going on a first date.
Woohoo! Somebody likes me.
Somebody likes you, and you have to wear one of the following.
Okay.
Okay. Socks and sandals, a turtleneck,
Oh.
or assless chaps.
The turtleneck.
Turtleneck?
I love it. Yeah, I love turtlenecks.
Without question.
I want to get a dickie, which is like just the top part of the turtle, a black dickie, and wear it around with my wife beater shirt, like the,
Yeah.
you know. You don't get any better fashion than that.
Okay, so the two questions on a first date, what would you have to wear or a mythical creature?
Oh, well, as far as mythical creatures go, we have a song about it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've seen a chupacabra.
What?
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
Explain the
No.
circumstances under which you
No,
saw
I
the
gotta hear
chupacabra.
that.
You gotta say, leave it for the song. Listen to the song.
Okay, and
Oh, fine.
okay, real quick. Okay, coming home from work, rainstorm. It's like a typical horror movie night. I was on night shift. Getting out of the car, and there's a bush with a tree that's near my property. And there's this thing that looks like a dog person trying to scratch up the tree. So in my head I go, that's a goddamn chupacabra. I could not think of anything else that this thing was. And now, of course it's like a horror movie because I've locked my door and I have to go, okay, I'm gonna, oh, that's the wrong key, great. And I start getting back in my car because I don't know what this thing is. It looks like a dog, but I swear it had legs that look like a person's legs. And it kind of looks at me, and it's got like this like a coyote with a mange face. I'm just like, oh boy, I really want to get in that car. And just as I turn and get in the car and I start closing the door again, it takes off around the corner. And like I said, it was right out of a horror movie. It's pouring rain. There's lightning going off. And so I told Matt this story, and that's why we have the song about the story.
That was a very fun story. Thank you for sharing that with me.
So that was my chupacabra experience.
And Spectra, of all the fashion trends of things that we've lost to time, what do you want to see return, and what do you think should stay in the past?
Definitely would like to see funeral jewelry return.
A funeral jewelry. Explain what a funeral jewelry is.
Jewelry.
Jewelry.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
I
I
heard
heard
Now that
jewelry.
sounds like
Yeah.
scary.
He's dead.
I could come back.
That's what I am.
I was looking right at you because I knew. Oh my gosh.
the funeral jewelry. That actually sounds like you could actually create a song about that. Funeral jewelry. Okay, so like.
When somebody dies, people would take a locket of their hair and like weave it into intricate,
Right.
Oh.
like a brooch and that sort of stuff like that. So I think it's kind of morbid, but I also think it's like really beautiful and touching.
Keeping a piece of someone.
If you incorporate some sort of artwork into like a brooch or a pin with their ashes, and you're always carrying them with them or something like that. I don't know, like I hear you.
Yeah. But I like the idea of hair too because I don't know, something about like somebody's like a lock of their hair and it's just like this romantic idea, I guess.
I'm all over
Too
that.
much of
You
it.
got to smell their DNA.
Yeah,
You could clone them.
You could use that for like doing spells later to bring them back to life.
Right. Pet Cemetery type shit.
You know? Yeah.
Just their hair.
Did anybody see the remake of Pet Cemetery? I
No.
did not.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how was it?
No.
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 Is that why I didn't?
That's why you
That's,
didn't
that's
see
why
it.
we didn't see it.
It
because
didn't
just-
have Herman Munster in it.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I don't know.
No, that's what I'm saying. It couldn't be because it didn't have Herman Munster
Yeah.
in it.
Okay, well we know that Rob Zombie has, quite into the horror macabre
Sure.
element of stuff. Of the horror classics that you guys are all in love with, what deserves a reboot and what should be left alone?
All of them should be left alone.
But
Start
then
your own
you-
shit. Make something new. But that's my thought.
That's, I don't know. It's,
I don't think there's a problem with reboots. It's just that what you're doing is you took, well, I mean, it was Universal, so you can't say they were a small film company, but they were smaller back then, and they were very budgety. That's in fact why they did the monster movies, because they were cheap. So you're taking guys that are trying to stretch their dollars, and to do that, you need to be creative. Thus, they're amazing films because it's a creative film. Now you've got them trying to remake it with these overblown budgets. Nobody cares where the money goes.
CGI.
Yeah, and it's garbage because they don't have to be creative in how they spend their money and the props they make.
But if there was a director who was going to
Right. So,
do justice to the reboot,
Yeah,
and you had faith in their abilities,
Well-
is there one movie that you think should?
well, yeah. I don't know. What would you do?
How about do you think Let's. How about Rob Zombie? What movie do you think Rob Zombie could remake?
None.
What about Del Toro?
No.
Gil Del Toro?
Yeah.
Yeah, he could do it.
Would be like.
But honestly, I bet you it's
But
like,
what movie?
I don't know, maybe do, I don't know, what hasn't had a remake?
I feel like if it's based on
Them,
a classic
you know what?
Story.
Them, giant fucking ants.
Giant ants.
That would be, I want to see a remake of Giant Ants.
I would good say
It would be good.
that movie, that,
No, that
that
was
girl
already
that
a
acts in
great
that movie,
movie,
the little
though.
kid, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great.
I think Toxic Avenger actually could be.
Yeah, but
That's
does
not
that,
that old.
does that go to the classic? I
No.
guess
Classic.
It is.
It's like classic sleaze. Like,
Yeah,
But if it's
yeah.
based on a novel like H.P. Lovecraft or like Mary Shelley, I think it deserves to be remade and retold again. It's a
Yeah.
different interpretation.
Yeah. Just don't get Al Pacino to play.
Yeah, exactly. I would love Frankenstein, but yeah, someone's really got to work that good.
What about
Or
Albert
if
Hitchcock?
they're gonna redo Frankenstein and go from like the classic movie Frankenstein, which I didn't really like because he was like too sort of not really a thinking monster. Like the Mary Shelley's Frankenstein from the novel is a very thoughtful monster. But if you're gonna go for the classic monster, I definitely want them to do the scene off the windmill again. Because that's like the best part of that.
Yeah. He bumps it. But I think if it was going to be a director, I would say it would be somebody new. Because they're in the same shoes as when they made them the first time, right? It wasn't like the guy who did, I don't even know who directed Frankenstein. It seems like ancient history, so, but whatever. They weren't amazingly known, well directors either. So I think the perfect people to remake these old films are people starting out.
Yeah.
And no CGI.
No
I'm
CGI.
with you
You
on
know
that.
what?
No
You
CGI.
can't do justice to a horror movie with putting CGI
Exactly.
in.
And I, for some reason, there's something that the brain registers that's not real, and it's just not as scary.
It doesn't, no.
I'd
It
rather
becomes an
see a
action.
It's like watching 911. Oh.
911. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, the moon landing, right? Yeah.
Okay, so I've got one final question. Okay, and I was kind of happy to see that there was an Ash Evil Dead poster in the background. In the Necronomicon, what would be written about House of Haunt?
Oh, jeez.
Well,
Play it back.
we have a backwards.
You got a backwards
We
track?
have a backwards in one of our tracks in what was it, Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
We got Skull to say,
Go buy our album.
obey. It would probably be something about the Red Duke, because the Red Duke, he's the one that got us all together. He built Skull out of a bunch of bare bones of like pedophiles and killers and stuff like that, right? So he's all the worst people he could get his bones on. He put me out. He went through history to get me. I'm a slave driver from Egypt. I don't think we have stories.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got a story. Is it
Well, he went back down and brought me back up because he wanted me to take somebody back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd probably be about the Red Duke. It'd probably, if there was anything you wanted to summon somebody who would really screw things up, the Red Duke. He's made deals with so many devils. Like that's how he works, right? He sells his soul to like Baphomet, and then when he goes and sells it to Satan, and he like it's already. He already knows he's going, and so when he eventually does die or what have you, who's gonna get his soul, right? They're gonna have to split it up. Everybody gets 1/100th of the soul.
It's a spiritual Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say how excited I am to see you guys perform tonight live. I've been watching live your YouTube performances, and I've been listening to you on Bandcamp, and super stoked. We're here at the Upper Space. Hopefully you're going to be clicking on to Patreon later on tonight to catch these guys live. Thank you very much. Sitting
Thank
here
you.
with
Thank you for having us in.
Radcliffe Turpin,
Thanks,
Bang
bud.
Finite, Spectra, and Skull.
The gang's